Good afternoon, my dear students and the participants who are all gathered here for the webinar talk on wastewater reclamation, which is the need of the hour by our alumnus S. Nandini, who is currently the senior engineer working at L&T Constructions. I welcome you, Nandini.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's our pleasure to have you here. And before we go on to this just a talk, I would like to know whether my students are in good health, safe and sound. Anyway, you cannot have interaction during the webinar. So whatever queries you have, you can post it in the chat box. Nandini is your senior, so you can, whatever, like with regard to the internships or even the technology wise, technically, if you have any queries, and also any openings with regard to placement in L&T, you can discuss with Nandini. So she got good contacts as well as technical expertise in wastewater reclamation. And most of my students are interested in the reuse of wastewater. So when we say wastewater reclamation as an environmentalist, I have to just give you a brief introduction. So whatever we talk topic, definitely as a HOD, I will definitely give you a brief topic. I mean, talk on that. But this one, since it is very close to my area of specialization, I would like to give a brief intro or talk about this wastewater reclamation. And we have third year and final year students and even passed out students were there, I was told. So for all their information, this reclamation is nothing but how we are going to reuse or I can say reuse, okay, by using appropriate or advanced technology, how this wastewater can be reused for our other uses. As you all know, for students from second year, I would like to say this water consumption by every person is about 135 liters per capita per day. I mean to say one person requires 135 liters of water. So 80% of this 135 liters will become wastewater. So every one of us, each one of us are producing wastewater every day. So we are the generators of wastewater. So 80% of 135, roughly around 110 liters of water, wastewater is produced by each one of us. Okay. And the rest 20% we use it for our biological growth and other processes happening within our physical body. Okay. Now, how do we treat this wastewater? Other stuff and all you will be learning in your fifth semester. Okay, we have primary treatment, secondary treatment, and even advanced treatment methods. Now, after you treat for a population of 10 million, I would say, for a city like Chennai, you can imagine how much tons or quantity of wastewater is generated by the city. So, after the treatment process also, how are we going to dispose this wastewater? Fine. Again, that is a big challenge. You all will be aware about the sludge treatment and how to reuse the sludge and other stuff and all. We have learned everything theoretically. Second year students, please do not worry. You will be learning all this in your sixth semester. I'll be teaching the theory part of all this in detail to you all. Whereas practically, what is happening? How are we going to reuse this wastewater? When I say reusing wastewater, you will just think, even in our college, we are reusing the wastewater. And then you also will be aware, I think, we have a sewage treatment plant in KCG and we treat the wastewater. And then this wastewater is being utilized for gardening purpose and even for other toilet flushing purposes and all. Apart from this, how we can reuse this wastewater since water crisis is or the peak right now. Okay, so I would suggest California right now they are doing it excellently. Okay, one should visit California or even Singapore. They have started on wastewater reclamation. They feel they don't have any inhibition to consume the reclaimed wastewater. Okay, let me show just one picture, and then if you don't mind.
No problem.
I think you have to stop sharing. Then only
Okay,
I
okay.
can.
Sure.
I'll just show you one pic, then so that my students will have
Yeah.
some understanding. Students, just have a look at this picture. So this picture, you'll be seeing my screen shortly. This picture will have three containers in which you can see raw water, okay, treated water, and then reclaimed water. Okay, raw water is nothing but the sewage, whatever we are producing from bathrooms, kitchens, and even from toilets. Okay, and then treated water. After you perform your activated sludge process or trickling method, whatever be the method. Okay, able to see all of you?
Actually, it's
Ma'am, the screen is not visible, ma'am.
it's
Right now.
blank.
Yes, it's
Now,
blank only. It's blank only. The screen is not visible. Yes.
no.
No, ma'am. Nandini, have you stopped sharing? Nandini, you just check, ma. You just check.
Yeah.
Yes, it's now. Yes,
Visible.
yes, ma. Yes, yes.
So this first bottle contains the raw sewage, and after treatment, you can see the plant effluent. Effluent is nothing but the wastewater treatment. Okay, treated water. And then you can see the third container which has got reclaimed water. So do you feel like consuming the third bottled water? I think nothing stops us because it doesn't have any toxicity, no impurities, nothing. So the thing is, you have to be mentally, I mean, you should set your attitude such that you have to consume this kind of water because I'm sure within a decade or even 2 decades, and Nandini also will agree with me, most of us being in cities, we have to go for usage of reclaimed water. Okay. And even the astronauts in space, they started consuming this reclaimed water. Okay, reuse. Okay, because they will be adopting some advanced technology. So about all that, Nandini will be discussing. And yeah. So with this short note, I request all my students to focus on the reclamation of wastewater. And when I was chatting with Nandini, I was happy to know that they have a separate unit for water treatment and as well as for reclamation of wastewater in L&T, which was not there during my PG and other time. Okay, so you guys have to keep in touch with your seniors and then get to know about what is the latest technology being adopted for reclamation of wastewater and even sludge treatment she was discussing with me. So please post whatever queries you have in the chat box and get the maximum benefit out of this webinar. Thank you. Over to Nandini.
Thank you, ma'am. Can you confirm that whether my screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. Yeah. Is it visible, ma'am? Fine?
Yes, yes, very much.
Okay.
Can go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon, all. So I'm Nandini. I'm from 2016 passed out batch. So I work for L&T Construction as a senior engineer. So I'd like to thank Dr. Vandana ma'am and Rekha ma'am for organizing this whole webinar, and I will also I will also want to thank John Alexander sir for approaching me for this. So this whole presentation or webinar is about wastewater reclamation. So what is wastewater reclamation? It's basically recycling and reuse, as ma'am told. She gave a very nice brief about it. So I think I should directly go to the presentation. So this is the flow of the presentation. We have we are going to see what is the water crisis, what is the solution, what are the norms and standards, and how we are going to know the saliencies of this. So first, it's basically we are staring at a crisis here. So it's like India, we have to first accept that we are actually having a water crisis. So that acceptance is very important. So these are mainly proven facts which I've got for you. Like around 100 million people, it's somewhere around 10 crore of people are in the front lines of a water crisis, which is very scaring. And we all know like water crisis in which means it doesn't mean scarcity alone. It's scarcity as well as we have flash floods like we saw in 2015 Chennai floods. Like it's extreme. Like we have suddenly we don't have water at all and we have lot of water. So what is the reason? Like encroachment of water bodies is one of the reasons. It's basically happening in Mumbai, Uttarakhand, Jammu and Kashmir and Chennai. So, and then one more thing is Indians use 230 cubic kilometer of groundwater every year, which is around 1/4 of the global consumption, which is also very like threatening. And 21 Indian cities are expected to run out of water by 2020. That is, if we face a monsoon failure this year, then it's going to happen this year itself. And India receives 4,000 billion cubic meter of water of rainfall and requires only 3,000 million cubic meter of rainfall. But what is the capture rate of rainfall is 8%. That is, we are only saving 8% of whatever rainfall that we are getting. So it's like it's very bad, no? Like we have to do water harvesting, we have to reuse it. So there's a lot of factors which is contributing to the water crisis. So that's why we have to go for wastewater reclamation, which is a very easier option than we can't control some things, but we can control this. So I think wastewater reclamation would be a good option. So this is another scenario. Like we know India is very it has different people. Everything is very culturally, everywhere it is diverse. In rainfall also it is like this. If you see this map, you can see like the rainfall is very unevenly distributed. If you see when in Mumbai and all, it's very dark. In Kerala, then if you see in Assam region, Assam region, it is very dark. So they receive so uh, high quantity of rainfall, heavy rainfall. Whereas here in peninsular India, inside in the Deccan region and all, we receive very low rainfall. So it's very unevenly distributed. That we have to understand. We should actually integrate everything so that everybody receives equal amount of water. So in the case of time also, in January we receive like 1.24 percentage of the rainfall. Suddenly in June July we get 23% of the rainfall. So it's very uneven. Like not like 1 month we get more, 1 month we get like not at all, very less. That is also an important thing why we are considering wastewater reclamation or other alternatives instead of rainfall. So as I told, like dependency in rainfall is we have to be independent of it. We should not be dependent on rainfall. So for that we are trying to do wastewater reclamation, wastewater recycling and reuse. Before that, what we are doing, as ma'am told, India is having STPs, sewage treatment plants all around the country. So mainly what they are doing is like this is actually there should be access that we are using. Then the wastewater we are generating from your toilets, kitchens, washing machine waste, everything will get collected. It is transported to a sewage treatment plant. There it is getting treated and it should be reused or disposed. This should be the apt thing, but this is not happening. This should be the proper thing that should happen, but this is not happening. Whatever from our water closet where sewer is from to the sewer that wastewater is going, right, only 12% is treated effectively. 26% is very unorganized and it just go and gets emptied, just go and gets disposed into seawater. The same thing in on-site sanitation facilities like septic tanks. It is very unsafely emptied and they are going and dumping it in some landfills or like they are putting it in a like same ocean. And there is more of the open defecation also. So only 12% is actually effectively treated. So this is also very important thing which we have to consider before going and thinking about wastewater reclamation and all. So these are the problems that we are facing. So what is the solution? So the solution is wastewater reclamation, as I told. Like basically we used to tell it as a toilet to tap approach. It's very nasty to say it in a way, but it's actually directly we should say it's very explicit. It's toilet to tap approach. We are using water, sewage we are generating, we are again treating it, we are using it back again. That is wastewater reclamation. In a word, we should say toilet to tap. So here I've just explained it in words just to have an idea. I don't want to like read out everything, but I'm just saying it. Wastewater reclamation is just converting wastewater into water that can be used again. So through this, we can actually irrigate gardens, we can irrigate agricultural fields, we can actually do surface water recharge, everything, groundwater recharge also we can do. Mostly whatever wastewater we are treating, we can actually use it for toilet flushing basically. That is something very easy, because toilet flushing we may not need pure water. It's okay if it's little bad or something, so we can use it. Then industry, in thermal power plants and all, we need only cooling, for water cooling only they'll use water. So in that case, the water can be, if it's not properly treated also, it's fine. So in that case also we can reuse it. So there is two things called direct potable reuse and indirect potable reuse. Indirect direct potable reuse, as in as ma'am told, in Singapore they are even drinking the water that comes from a treated water from a sewage treatment plant. They can even drink it directly. They will drink it. So I've added pictures of it in the last slides. That is called direct potable reuse. If we are using it for irrigation, agricultural field, we are putting it, then we are using the plants from that. That is indirect potable reuse. That is a different case. Two different cases are there. So reuse versus recycling, we need to know what is reuse, what is recycling and all. So reduce is often we will tell, like closing the taps, not using it when we are not requiring it. That is reduce. Then reuse is we are using it, like for example, we have small RO plants in our home. From that RO, reject water will come. We can actually store it in a small bucket, and we can use it for like our own home garden, or we can use it for our toilet flushing or something like that. Within our home we are using, that is reuse. Recycle is we are basically sending the wastewater to a treatment plant, treating it, getting properly treated water again, and then using it in some what to say, for again using it like for car washing, or even drinking we can use. If we are treating it properly, we can even use it for drinking. So that is recycle. Here if you say reduce is very easy, but recycling is, that's why I've mentioned it as lowest risk and most preferable, highest risk and least preferable. So if we are reducing, we need not go for this, but unfortunately we are not doing it. A lot of us are wasting water. So recycle and reuse has become a like obvious option for us. Next one. So I have told like it is very risky. Wastewater recycling is risky. Why I'm saying risky? Because there is lot of treatment units are there. Like if we say we have to put if we want good water, like treated water from sewage treatment plant, we want to drink it or something, we need to put lot of units for it. We need a primary treatment unit, we need a biological treatment unit, then we need to put a filter for it, then we have to disinfect it. Disinfect as in we should put UV treatment or ozonation. It's all very costly, very risky, very, we don't know, it's very expensive. So that's why I put it as risky. So here, if this is a bit of more technical. So increasing technology requirement and decreasing resource requirement, I don't want to stress on this, it's a bit technical. So I'm just telling you, if you're doing secondary treatment, that is still biological treatment, activated sludge and all you would have learned from your environmental engineering basics. There, if you're treating it till biological treatment, then we can use it for irrigation. Then tertiary treatment. Tertiary treatment means we are filtering and all. We have activated carbon filters and all. In that we can use it for urban reuse. Urban reuse as in car washing, vehicle washing, then toilet flushing as I said. Then tertiary treatment with membrane process, that is very important. Like for example, we have ultrafiltration, nanofiltration, membranes and all, which gives you very good quality water. That can be used for industrial purposes. Then we have nutrient removal, nitrogen and phosphorus will be there. That if you are removing, then it is indirect potable reuse. So it's like that. It's very technical, but I just want to emphasize that it is very risky. Investing in a wastewater recycling or reclaiming thing is very, very risky. but we have to take the risk because it's important for us. We don't have an option now. So what shall be done? So this is a bit easier one. Like wastewater, we have lot of standards, Indian standards, US EPA standards. There's a lot of standards in globally available, to which we can actually, like if BOD should be 5 mg per liter, then BOD should be 5 mg per liter. We can't restrict or we can't relax it. We should restrict it to 5 mg per liter. Then only we can use it for toilet flushing. We can't simply treat it, simply activate its sludge process and then go for toilet flushing. No, that can't be done. We should treat it till it comes to that particular standard. So that is one thing, compliance to standards. Next, this is, I have to cite an example. We have a STP in Delhi. L&T is owning a STP in Delhi, a sewage treatment plant. It is 318 MLD, 318 MLD per day, million liters per day. So only 100 million liters per day is required by a nearby industry. So what they have done is, only for that 100 million liters per day, they have put advanced treatment. Others are not normal treatment. So in that way, what will happen is, like only for that 100 mld, they are giving it to an industry and they are getting money from the industry. The industry will pay you actually if you are giving money. I mean, if you are giving water for them. So like that, they are earning money also. So it's like we need not put it for 318 mld. Only for that 100 mld we can put it, and then we can get returns from it. So we have a stigma, as ma'am said. Ma'am said we like there is lot of stigma related to it. We don't like, even I am talking so much, like even if I have a STP nearby my home, I would feel very disgusting about it. Like that, there is lot of stigma attached to it, which should be which should go. Only our generation, we have to emphasize on that and we have to eradicate it. That is our responsibility as civil engineers, as environmental engineers. We have to do it. And then mandating recycle and reuse through judiciary. So recycle and reuse, actually this is not an action required, it's actually happening. Recycle and reuse are in many of the tenders, upcoming government tenders and all, they have they have mandated that recycle and reuse should happen in any tender, even from 10 mld to 1000 mld, whatever tender comes, not 1000 mld, 500 mld, whatever tender comes, they have told reuse should be done in the STP. Next one. So it's like, what is the reclamation potential? Like we are treating sewage. What are you going to do with the treated sewage? If you ask me, there's like three different categories. One is economical. Economically, as I said, we can use it for agriculture, horticulture, we can use it for forestry, fish and prawn culture. If let us say if the water contains lot of salts, we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do with the reject. We have treated it, but still there is a lot of TDS in it. Then we can use it for prawn culture, fish culture. Fish culturing, they need salt water, right? Like we can give it to them, they'll take it, they'll give you money also. And then industrial, as I said, in thermal power plants, everywhere they have coolant water for heat exchanging. So in that case, they will need water. They need water. Instead of taking from groundwater, they will get it cheap from us. It is expensive and there's a lot of norms for taking groundwater. Instead of that, they'll take it from us. So that is also an important thing. Then residentially, we can do toilet flushing, vehicle washing, landscaping. These are all with us. We should do it. Like how in KCG, I think they are doing it. In my PG college, Anna University also they used to do it. In L&T campus also they are doing it. These are all small efforts by small organizations. Whatever they can do, they are doing. So this should be done, like nationwide they have to do. And then groundwater replenishment. As I said, we can actually dispose it to river. Through that, river has its own cleansing property. It will get treated by itself. That also can be done. Then groundwater recharge can be done. So after a point of time, the water will get filtered in the ground, layers of the ground and the soil layers, and it will get treated by itself. So that's one of the things. Then this is pretty technical, but I want to emphasize on it because these are the norms. This is if anybody wants to read about it or something, you have to read this. CPHEO 2015. If somebody wants to know about it, please note it down. CPHEO 2015, that is Central Public Health Engineering, Environmental Engineering Organization. It is a central government body. They are the one who is, like responsible for all this. They are the one who, publishes the standards in India. We have to, this particular table is for reuse. This is the wholesome standard everybody follows in L&T. Everybody follows this. So if, let's say, I'll just say an example. So you are treating water from the sewage, wastewater from your home, you are sending it to sewage treatment plant. You want to reuse it. You want to reuse it for what? Let's say you want to reuse it for toilet flushing. Then you have to treat it such that the turbidity should be less than 2. There should be no suspended solids. The TDS, total dissolved solids, should be 2100. Should be less than 2100 or 2100. pH should be 6.5 to 8.3. Oil and grease should be, for toilet flushing, it can be 10. For other purposes, it should be nil. In fire protection, we should not have oil and grease, so it should be nil. So in minimal residual chlorine, it should be 1. So like that, there is for everything, it's there. For every particular thing, like for landscaping, for agriculture, for edible crops, it should be like this. For non-edible crops, it should be like this. So they have complete reuse standards. This is basically this is the basic standards which everybody follows. So in case you want to learn more about it, you should check this. So next one is, these are all like specific for agricultural, how it should be the location, everything. These are all very, very like more technical. I really want to skip this because it's, I think it would be more technical and you'll get bored. So these, if you want to know about it, please ping me. I'll surely let you know about all this. These are all basically agricultural. In agricultural application, what are the norms and standards? So health and safety of workers should be checked. We have to do deep ploughing before like if the sewage has BOD, in order to counteract it, we should do deep ploughing so that oxygen will come out and BOD will get nullified. So that and all is there. In industry, as I said, cooling water, surface water discharge standards should be carried out. It should be like less than, residual chlorine should be 1 mg per liter. So things like that are there. So I'm just skipping this. Same way, like toilet flushing, as I told, these are all theoretical standards, not numbers. For Indian water process, reuse only after activated carbon and ultrafiltration membrane. So these are all specific to what to say, depends on the situation. Like for toilet flushing, we have to do this. For small layouts, we have to do this. It's like that. It's very specific. But the first one table I showed you, that is more generic. I think you have to check that. Okay, this I have to explain. So in construction activities, so you might think like sewage treatment plant is not related to civil engineering, structural. There are few like stigma in that also, but it's not like that. So in L&T also, they are using a lot of treated water for preparing concrete, curing, everything, for most of the construction purposes, because we have labor camps. Like there are thousands and 2000s and 3000s of laborers who are staying in the sites. The sewage that comes out from that should be reused. For that reuse is done through construction activities. So this is in IS 456 only. From that only we have taken. So these are the criteria. For organic, it should be 200 mg per liter. For inorganic, it should be 300 mg per liter. If the treated water is in this, under this limit, then we can use it for mixing, curing, and all. And pH value should not be less than 6, because if pH is more, it will cause erosion and all. It shouldn't be acidic, it shouldn't be basic, it should be like more or less in 6 to 7 range. And for curing also, we can use it, but we have to be very prompt in that. There should be any tannic acid, iron compounds and all in curing, so that and all we should take care. But if this particular one second, if this particular limits are satisfied, then you can use it. for construction activities. So application of treated wastewater in construction sector. So this is basically like what are the like major thing I've told, like concrete and mortar preparation, compaction and curing, testing and waterproofing, one second, cleaning of equipment, on-site domestic use by laborers. So these five are majorly we can use as wastewater, treated wastewater in the construction sector. This should be considered. If anybody wants to take projects and check how the application goes, you can also do it. So next one is, so coming back to the technologies, we know like secondary treatment, tertiary treatment, we have primary treatment. It's basically settling that everybody will do. In all STPs, they will do primary treatment. In secondary treatment, there are new technologies, not only as activated sludge process. We have sequential batch reactor, we have membrane reactor, we have moving bed batch reactor, we have sequential batch biofilm reactor. There are also modular units called JOCASO. So there's like many treatment technologies available in secondary treatment. In tertiary, we have a lot of membranes like reverse osmosis membrane, microfiltration, NF, UF, ozonation, disinfection. Disinfection, till now, most of the STPs, they do only chlorine disinfection. If you're using chlorine, it's fine, but we can't drink it back. And chlorine, sometimes, there is something called as monochloramines, dichloramines. I think you would have heard about it. It's very harmful. It causes cancer, in fact. So in that case, we are reusing for portability, and then we have to check UV disinfection, ozonation and all. But the point here is we can do everything, but it's very expensive. That also we should see. Other technologies include like there are activated carbon filtration, we have softening agents, we have sand filtration and all. These are all technologies available for like wastewater reclamation. Like treating it using these technologies and reusing it is possible. So that's what I want to like imply in this. So that is the technical part of it. Now I'm going to just run through a few case studies. I've got 3 case studies. One is ma'am has told, Vandana ma'am, she told about Singapore. So this is more of technical stuff. This is just a schema. In Singapore, there is a, like how we have CPHEO, as I told, like we have Public Utility Board in Singapore. That they are the sole, sole owners of all the treatment plants in Singapore. So they only run it. So what they do is they have a public utility board. They are responsible for it, and what they do is they treat wastewater. They treat it to such good levels that they even drink it. The water that comes from the tap of a Singapore home or house, whatever, like from the tap, they can even take it and drink it, and it comes from a sewage treatment plant. We can't even believe what they are saying, but they are doing it. So this is one of the classic example that's happening right near us in a country which is very near to us. One of my boss, he went and saw it, and he couldn't believe himself, and he was very astonished by it. But I'm pretty sure this is a long-term goal for India, but still it's a very good inspiration for us. So these are few statistics about how Singapore has developed. What they do is Singapore is forerunning in the field of wastewater treatment. NEWater is the brand. The water that comes from the STP is called as NEWater. Is the brand name given to reclaimed water, which is portable and consumed by humans, produced by Singapore's Public Utility Board. It is treated sewage that has been purified using dual membrane, as I said, microfiltration, reverse osmosis, and ultraviolet technologies is used in addition to the conventional water treatment processes. Our problem is we only do this. They are doing this also. We only do the conventional water treatment. So here, I don't know whether you can see it, but here, these are the bottles, like how we have our Bisleri bottles and all. They are actually selling it. It's drinkable. It's very, surprising for all of us, but they are doing it. So this is let me explain this. It's pretty easy to understand. So let's say we have houses, industries and all. Water is coming out. There is a water reclamation plant. it just get treated normally as we all treat activated sludge process or some sewage sequencing batch reactor or something. Then it comes to a new water treatment plant. What they do is there is a microfiltration membrane and then a reverse osmosis membrane and then a ultraviolet disinfection. This three happens and then we get high quality new water. This is mainly used in industries, but still there are few instances where they sell it also, especially in public utility board has a exhibition center. There they completely use this new water only. So we are using, this is what I told, toilet to tap. This is from our toilet, but we are using it back. So this is something we have to learn from them. Next one is happening near in Bangalore. This Bangalore Kempagoda International Airport, it's a 2 MLD capacity plant. They have used extended aeration in it. I hope everybody knows what extended aeration is. It's a type of biological treatment system. So generally what they do is screening, grit chamber, aeration tank, clarifier, will disinfect right here and then put it into some river or ocean. That's what we do. But what they have done is before the chlorine contact tank and after the clarifier in the middle, they have put two filters, dual media filter and activated carbon filter, and then they have disinfected it. So this is used in landscaping. As I told, like ma'am also previously mentioned, they are using it for landscaping in the airport area. Airport does have a lot of land. They need landscaping. They need water for it, so they are using it. Moreover, some part of the effluent tank is taken to a softener system and used as a coolant for the ACs that is in the airport itself. So that is also done. So this is one classic example which is happening in Bangalore. So this I wanted to take to your like information. And then okay, I have to say about this. This is L&T Construction headquarters. There is a STP in that. So here also we are doing the same thing. We have screening. It is actually serving around 5,000 employees. The campus. We have two STPs. One is 400 kiloliters per day, and the other one is 200 kiloliters per day. So one is having aeration with moving bed followed by tube settler and chlorination. Other one is having moving bed batch reactor followed by clarification and UV treatment. So two things are there. The treated water is completely used. I have seen it by myself. I see it daily. All the toilets, they are using it for the flushing. They are using this treated water only. For landscaping also they are using it. The problem is there is a bit of smell to it, but of course we are reusing it. There should be some shortcomings in this, but we have to accept it and we have to take it forward. So the scheme goes like this. It's screening, aeration tank, then we have a settler, then we have a PSF and a pressure sand filter and activated carbon filter, and then we have disinfection. Disinfection is done through two UV as well as chlorine, and then the treated effluent go to the like for landscaping and toilet flushing. So this is I want to say about how L&T is also like concerned about it. So this is one of the case study. So I think that's it. Okay, like finally I want to say what is the saliencies in wastewater reclamation. So basically we are not depending on rainfall. That is something very important. Like we are reusing whatever we are generating. So in that way we are less dependent on rainfall. Number two, we need not go for desalination and all. Desalination and all, it's very, very high end expensive stuff. The reject management is a headache there. So that in that case, desalination and all we need not go. Just recycle it. Just put one filtration membrane to it and then recycle the whole thing for irrigation. Just think, instead of using river water for irrigation, we are using wastewater. Then how much river water we can actually save? Just think about it. I'm just giving you a small idea, but just think about it. Then the viability of STP will increase, because like there will be a lot of STPs. Instead of many STPs, I have got some statistics that there's a lot of STPs that is not working at all in India. They have built it, but they have not worked on it. So then groundwater recharge through reclaimed water for indirect potable reuse. Groundwater recharge also we can do so that the groundwater levels will increase. And then potential nutrient source. Okay, the treated water will have amounts of nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus. We can also use it for irrigation. Okay, then as I told, less dependence. So these are the main advantages of doing wastewater reclamation. So these are all very it's very good for the nation, very good for the society, very good for our future generations also. So I think if you want to take up environmental engineering, or you want to do a project on environmental engineering, final year project, I think you should consider all this, and you have to come up with good ideas. So that's what I want to say. So thank you. In case you have any questions.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
So, how about the economics, financial thing involved in this per liter?
Uh, for generally STP,
Yeah.
general power generation and all, without power generation and all, for a MLD, we need somewhere around 60 to 80 lakhs. For with power generation, with ultrafiltration membranes, I think somewhere it goes around 1.2 crores for an MLD.
Okay.
That's all.
Wonderful presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Nandini, I'm having one question.
Yeah, ma'am, please.
Uh, Actually, you have done a lot of projects. I just want to know our Indian mentality, people mentality to accept this process. How you come across like these issues?
Ma'am, as of now, it's we have given water to only industries, ma'am. So industry, it's basically they'll understand. They just need a characteristic. They'll just take the characteristics of water. If it's within their limitation, they'll take it. But we have never went to people yet. So we don't know. That's what I'm mentioning. There's a lot of stigma. Even we have an STP nearby our home. Also, we are going to protest for it. We are doing it. Everyone will do it.
Yes.
So in that case, we can't. It's a distant dream for us. Like using it for potable water, as drinking water and all. It's very tough. Not now, but we can slowly, like we can do it. First, we can do. We have done it for industries now. So then we can change it for like for normal vehicle washing and all. We can let them use. Then we can slowly develop people to get accommodated to it. That's what we have to do.
Yes.
Should I stop sharing it?
Yes, ma. Stop sharing.
Yeah.
I think no questions from chat box and question and answers also.
Okay.
Uh,
Ma'am, would you like, if students are there, I want to tell a few things about
yes, ma. Students are there, ma. Yes, ma.
if time permits, I'll tell
Yes, ma.
for a
Yes,
2
ma.
minute. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know how many of them are listening because I don't know how people, but still I want to say something like when I came out of KCG, like I came with a GATE score. I think GATE is a very important exam which people are like many students are ignoring. So I want people to understand the importance of GATE, and clearing it is very easy. In fact, like I want to just mention few subjects, like especially geotech, highway, fluids, environmental, hydrology, irrigation, and max and aptitude. I think these are the subjects they have to learn to get through the exam. If they are getting through the exam, then I think in Anna University and all, they can easily go and they can study with a stipend. So that I have to emphasize them, because like in if they are not going abroad, or if they want to study here, they want to do MTech or ME, then they have to like concentrate on GATE. That is a piece of advice I want to give, because trying GATE, studying for it and preparing for it was a life-changing decision for me. I just want to tell it. So that thing I have to tell. Yeah.
Yeah. I think no queries, Nandini.
No problem.
Ma'am, shall we close it, ma'am? Ma'am?
Yeah, please.
Yes. Actually, Nandini, I'm really very happy to see you like this, ma. A lot of that means your presentation itself that shows what the experience you gained within a short period. I think 4 years. It seems
No,
it's
1 year. I've just been in L&T for 1 year. 1.5.
1 year, but from the KCG. You
Oh,
left,
KCG, yeah, 4 years.
it's 4 year, 3 years to 4 years, isn't it? So your presentation shows such an wonderful knowledge you acquired and wonderful session, really. Really, I'm very much thankful to you. Okay.
I should thank you.
Okay, so this is general formal out of thanks for the presentation. Really, I would like to thank first of all our management giving the opportunity to conduct like this. They are really encouraging our alumni to give their experience and to encourage the current students. Yeah, of course, they are going to face a lot of things when they are going out. Okay, so frequently we are the management is giving opportunity to conduct alumni webinar so that the current students get benefited, and especially our head of the department is really encouraging a lot to give like this webinars and our co-faculties, and thank you very much to all of you, ma. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.